Ron, hey! Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Good to see you. Welcome to In Lieu of the Pew, Season 2, Episode 3, St. Patrick's Day, and marking 1 year in the pandemic. It's amazing to think about. In any case, hope you've got your favorite Irish beverage with you. Tonight, I've got an Irish whiskey, and I was just looking and found this wonderful little Irish toast that goes like this. When we drink, we get drunk. When we get drunk, we fall asleep. When we fall asleep, we commit no sin. When we commit no sin, we go to heaven. So let's all get drunk and go to heaven. Very Irish, very Irish. Hey, Katie's nearby. Katie, come on in. How are you? Welcome, welcome.
Oh my God. I love that toast.
Is that Orion? How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm having my Irish beverage of Aquafina. So
Aquafina.
Yes. I will be having an Irish Mai Tai later. So we'll do that then. So
that's and why a Mai Tai?
Because I am in Hawaii.
You're in Hawaii. Show us the view from your deck. Go ahead.
Okay.
Do it.
Let's see. Can you see it? I just turned it around.
Oh, that's Diamond Head.
There's Diamond Head.
Awesome. Well, Ireland is an island country, so I guess it's appropriate you're on an island.
Right. That seems fair. Right.
That works. How's your trip going?
Good. I actually was thinking about you and your silent retreat. And that I spent most of the day yesterday. Your tie's messed up?
It's fine now. I'm good.
Most of the day yesterday, not speaking. And it just doing walks. I did do some work, but just kind of spent that time just listening and observing my surroundings and just being present with where I am and what I was doing and being mindful. Different for me since I am a professional talker, and I liked it. I liked it more than I thought, and it kind of happened by accident. Like I started thinking about it, kind of like, oh, I haven't really talked to anybody. I've done some emails, I've done some texting. I wonder how long I can continue this. And I had a couple, work calls came in, kind of thing, but those were short. And then I just kind of kept it quiet.
Says aloha. Kathy says good evening.
Aloha.
And Anne wants to know if you're at the Hilton Hawaiian Village.
I am not. I am at the Westin Moana Surfrider. It's the oldest hotel in Waikiki.
Nice.
And I had afternoon tea the first day that I got here. So it was fabulous.
Lovely. You're doing it up right.
Yes.
Good to see you. See you. So,
aloha.
Can you believe it's been 1 year since we first went into this whole, 14 days to flatten the curve, and here we are 365 days later.
I know. I was thinking about that today. I actually was talking to a friend today in Hawaii, and I, kind of telling her about how I had to get back to the hotel room so I could get ready for In Lieu of the Pew. And she was like, tell me about that. And so I was like, yeah, this was sort of an idea that came out of us wanting to connect with other people and help you feel like you could have something to do, because there was a little while there where you're like, what do I do with my day?
There when it was like, I need to do something.
Right.
Something.
So it was
you're right.
fun.
I mean, you just reminded me that for those who've maybe never seen In Lieu of the Pew before, we did start this last April, just as a way to, like I say, to connect with people. But we definitely wanted it to be interactive. I'm bringing my my Twitter up right now. So if you have questions or comments or input or ideas or thoughts, anybody watching, we invite you to participate. If you're on Facebook, you can drop right in the Facebook chat that's here in front of me. And I'm also watching my cell phone on Twitter. You can just hashtag your remarks with hashtag In Lieu of the Pew, and that would pop up for me there. And we're happy to respond to your questions and talk with you. Because to tell you honestly, after the last 2 episodes we had with Father Gary Thomas, which were amazing, like our best watched episodes ever, but they were intense.
Yes, I can only handle so much.
It's St. Patrick's Day. I've got this beautiful Jameson Irish whiskey black barrel that someone brought for me today. So someone who knew me well. Thank you, Gene. Gene is saying that I've got a totally cool plaid jacket. Okay, want to know the secret? I found this at a thrift store for like 10 or 12 bucks.
Oh my god.
That was it. And I'm like, I have to have that for 10 bucks. Absolutely. So right? I mean, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, you are Irish. Like, guess what I found? Right. Oh yeah.
Well, it's been in my closet for a couple years, and I think I've worn it once before. Maybe?
Really? Is that not your standard St. Patrick's Day look?
No. So in any case, so if you have questions or comments, drop them in lieu of the hashtag in lieu of the pew. We'll keep an eye out for that, and happy to talk with people tonight and just have a little less intense. So let me ask you this question, Katie, okay? Because you're the one the exorcist was here because of you, because
well,
that didn't go
obviously,
quite the way I wanted it to.
yes.
Okay.
The Exorcist was on because of
you
me.
kept asking,
Go ahead.
We need to put that in spiritual way. So now, after 2 sessions with Father Gary Thomas, like 90 minutes of his time,
Right.
what's your understanding of spiritual warfare?
Well, yeah, and I have to say it was interesting to listen to him, and I still struggle a little bit around spiritual warfare. I think I have more of an awareness about it. My favorite thing was that confession is the best weapon for spiritual warfare, and not this episode, but at some point you and I need to have our confession episode and talk. I am a confession convert. I was not somebody that was a big confession fan, and actually been a few times this year already.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
You were that twice a year person, Advent, Lent.
I was a Noah year person for a long time, and then you and I talked about it, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it, kind of begrudgingly. But that's a topic for a different episode. But that was sort of one of the things I really liked about it. I thought it was interesting. Some of the quirky stuff was sort of fun and interesting to learn, but I think it's the spiritual warfare is more about your own personal decisions that you're making every day, and where are you opening and it's just that where are you opening up the window, where are you opening up opportunities for sin to easily creep in, and the devil to do his work. So I like that confession is like, oops, I opened a window, the devil came in, dang it, right? Go to confession, and be absolved of your sins, and then having that awareness of like, yes, I'm the one that opened the window. I'm the one that created this.
I think you're spot on that we'll do one of these in lieu of the pews at some point around the sacrament, because after the parish mission that some people have watched, I got a lot of feedback on the confessional. People really appreciate it. So we have our first question for tonight. Thomas Cheney, 2nd grader. He wants to, either of us have any pets. Do you have any pets?
No, I would kill it for sure. So I don't have plants. I don't have pets. It's a miracle my children are alive. So no.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have
true.
pets. No.
Yeah, I don't have any pets right now, but growing up, I had a ton of pets. I had
a dog, really?
Had a rat, had a hamster. We had tropical fish. We had goldfish. My mom had a budgie, little bird that we would play with. So we had all kinds of pets when I was a kid. But right now, I don't have a pet because I just don't think it would be fair to the pet. My days are so full, and when it's not COVID, I travel so much that yeah.
So was it you had a pet, or you said you had a pet and your mom took care of the pet?
No, we took care. Yeah, we took care of it. I did. I had one of those Habitrail things for the hamster. It was great. So
the little maze like they do in Minneapolis in January.
Right. So I have jokes tonight too.
Oh, I do have a question, because again, we are celebrating, if there's such a thing as celebrating 1 year. Do you want to give any updates on COVID and how we're doing things at the church, and kind of talk about some of the experiences you've had sort of opening the doors with church now that we're celebrating 1 year?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of jokes about COVID. It was kind of a pandemic. Keep up with me, Katie. Keep up with me. What happened to the birds? And eventually the birds went the way of all things mortal. That's what they do. Oh, you're right. I did have 4 little finches at one point that were given to me when I was over at St. Augustine in Oakland, that I brought with me to St. Charles. And actually, they told me those finches would live 3 to 4 years. And when I got them, they were 1 year old. The last one died after 9 years.
9
years of finch, and it died on the same day that we had my mom's funeral. And my mom always loved birds, so I'm like, okay, that works. So, but in terms of opening the church, we're doing great. We're having, I think we're having 3 masses on Sunday, open to the public. Right now, we're at 25% capacity, so that's about 200 people. With the exception of Ash Wednesday, we haven't had a mass yet where it's been a full 200 people. The 10 o'clock's gotten close. Reservations have been 200, but 200 haven't shown up yet. So I think people are hesitant, but I also think as people get their vaccines, more people are starting to come. So yes, it's St. Augustine. And then when those masses fill, we'll go ahead and open up the Saturday Vigil Mass. I think that's the next one. I'm hearing most people say they like to have the Saturday Vigil Mass back. So we'll get that going as soon as we fill the other ones up. But it's interesting because I'm looking at, and pastoral counselor talking about, and we're sort of beginning to talk about as we begin to look like coming out of the pandemic. What do we just want to go back to everything how it was? I think some things weren't necessarily working so great, but this is a chance to maybe do some new things, and revision how we might want to be going into the future. So, any chance we could have Mass at St. Elizabeth Seton? Thank you, Karen, for asking. Matter of fact, on Easter Sunday, we're planning to do a 9 o'clock Mass at Seton. We're also planning to do Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Vigil, Holy Saturday at Seton.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's part of the hope. That's what we would like. One of the problems with opening Seton back up full time is having enough team members to do masses at all those places at the same time. And also when I'm thinking about it, we are still in conversation with the Korean Catholic community about at some point they're using Seton on Sundays and we having all of our masses over at Augustine. The Koreans would still have an 11 o'clock English Mass that sometimes Philly or Luke or I would go do with them. But so that would be a shift they'd be shifting their schedule to kind of help us out, or we'd be shifting our schedule to help them out. So the emails have been going back and forth. Matter of fact, this week, we've made our proposal to them. They're talking with their pastoral council, but they don't think they have much problem adjusting to what we'd like them to do. That would be very helpful. Because so then when the Koreans arrive, in essence, the only Mass that would sort of disappear off our schedule would be the 9 o'clock Mass, because that would be a Mass that would be in Korean at Seton. But we'd pretty much, oops, I've lost your sound, Katie.
Sorry, no, I was told that I had too many kids playing in the pool in the background, so I was trying to mute myself while you're talking.
No worries. Okay, yeah, well, Jennifer, thank you for asking, because no matter what happens, we will continue to webcast. We've got cameras permanently installed now in the Elizabeth Seton Chapel. We've got 3 of them, and so that 12:10 Mass, daily Mass, Monday through Friday, will be webcast into the future. We're moving on getting cameras into Augustine Church because we want to continue to webcast at 10 o'clock, and we'll have the choir at that. Because in all honesty, and some of them will be with us tonight watching, we have developed a virtual community around the world. We are watched in every continent except Antarctica. Our podcasts are downloaded in 31 different countries. We actually, there are so many people who watch us online that there's no way we can say, well, pandemic's over, shut down the webcast, right? That would just, we have a virtual community that very much, I get emails from people in other parts of the world saying they feel they know us, they enjoy the music, they like the preaching, they like Philly and Luke and I, and they feel that they're part of our community now because they've been with us for a year, sometimes almost every day. So we're not going to just shut it down. That's sort of a new reality. Sarah's watching us from Las Vegas. Hey, Sarah.
I was going to say, I just saw that from Las Vegas. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Jennifer, we are planning to do the Easter Vigil. We hope to do that from Seton. We're working hard because the Seton main church is not equipped for the webcasting. So we're going to have to run some pretty long Ethernet cables to make that happen. But we're working on it. Michael Harmon's working on it like that. And we have no plans to shut the podcast down either, because that grows every week on us. That just gets bigger on us every week.
Shane Bowen wanted to know if there was actually water in this. As a good Irish person, is it actually water? Only I know. God and I know what's actually in my Aquafina bottle.
So I see questions showing up about Easter. Let me just go through the Easter schedule with you. I worked it with the pastoral council, reviewed it with staff and with the other priests. Here's what we're planning to do for Holy Week. Palm Sunday masses will be what they've been the last 3 or 4 weeks. And then we will do Holy Thursday and Good Friday at 7 o'clock from Elizabeth Seton Church, and the Easter Vigil at 8 o'clock. Easter Vigil has to take place at least a half hour after sundown, so that's why the 8 o'clock. On Easter Sunday, we'll do 8 o'clock a.m. at St. Augustine Church, 10 o'clock a.m. at St. Augustine Church, and 10 a.m. webcast from the grotto. So we'll have 2 masses going simultaneously. If the weather is raining, we'll do 10 a.m. in the Seton Chapel as we have been. We'll also have a 9 o'clock a.m. at Elizabeth Seton and then noon at Augustine. So that's the plan. So we should, including the Easter Vigil, we'll have 6 Easter masses at 200 people apiece. So that leaves us for room for about 1,200 people for Easter masses if people want to come. Reservations will be needed for all those things, but that's the plan for Easter. It's really weird because you have to like reinvent everything, because like some of the great things we do for the vigil or for the Triduum, like washing feet on Holy Thursday, can't do that. The diocese is like, have the presider wash 3 or 4 people's feet, and that's it. For Good Friday, when everybody venerates the cross, touches the cross or kisses the cross, you can't have that.
Right,
How do you refigure that? We've got an idea. Easter Vigil, when everybody holds a candle, you can't have everybody have candles, because you can't have 200 people take off their masks and go into the air, right? You just can't do that. So we're reinventing everything like that. Dominique, we will do the 10 o'clock outdoor mass at the grotto on Easter Sunday if the weather permits. So that's what we're doing there. So that's our hope for that. So that's sort of the plan for Easter.
Okay, I got all sorts of questions. You ready? So, yeah. Okay, when can people start? When do the reservations open for the Easter masses that people can start making plans around that?
We haven't set that date yet. Normally reservations go out on Thursday for Sunday. Right. But obviously, Holy Week, I would imagine, watch your flock note, watch our website on Monday or Tuesday of Holy Week for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. And then, you talked about, that we're going to continue online masses and the podcast and hitting all the continents and all that good stuff. So, that's been that. We talk about the pandemic, there are lessons that we've learned. And like you said, some things we're not going to go back to doing and some things we're going to improve. Over the last year, okay, I still can't believe we've been doing this for a year. But you've attempted some the highs and lows, as it were. And we maybe should do that at our next our next one is the year in review, right? But and maybe that's something we should get from the people that are watching, the year in review of the last year and how in Lieu of the Pew has kind of helped mark the time and some of these things.
Yeah, it has, because I was realizing that in 2 weeks when we do our next one on April 30, it's Wednesday before baseball's opening day. Remember our baseball episode?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
It's also Wednesday before Holy Thursday. So that's going to give us lots of stuff to talk about in terms of preparing ourselves to celebrate the Paschal mystery well, those big days well. We'll be able to talk about all that. But that's in 2 weeks from now. So, I was thinking okay, so baseball and the Triduum. How do we put that?
Come on, we can do that. We have nothing else we can do. Bring out some George Carlin and baseball versus football, and we can. I just want to be safe at home.
So chime in here, people. But I really think that we could call it something like God plays ball.
Come on, you can do better than that. Good. We'll have to come up with something good.
Feels like some of the best homilies have been during the pandemic. Thank you, Karen. There's been a lot of material to work with.
I was going to say.
I'm so glad that you're attending church on your lunch hour daily. Of course, we're going to continue all that. That's awesome. That's so good. I'm just checking. Nothing here on Twitter. So, yeah. So very cool. So it's going well. Like I say, I think I'm excited to have the Koreans sort of maybe blend in and do some stuff with them, as long as we can make it all work out. They've been so grateful. Triple play, nice, Jeremy.
Oh, nice, Jeremy.
Play.
Yes, I like that. That's a good one. That's way better than Father Mark's. Oh, I just called you Father Mark. What is happening? Well, I like triple play, Jeremy. We may steal that one. That's a good one. I like that. That's a good one. Yeah, no, we can do lots of baseball. Oh yes, we are back playing baseball. So yes, actually, Nathan hit his first home run of the season on Monday, so that was very exciting. So we like to, yes. So we like to celebrate. Yay! Here's to Nathan. Bad luck to Chose with water, but we're not in the same room anyway. So
no.
So have to get that Mai Tai later. So okay, so I need to ask you. All right, you have all this Irish stuff and your Irish bow tie, and it is St. Patrick's Day. Oh, wait, I got two things but one I need to ask, are you Irish?
On my mother's side, yes. Oh. My mother was half Irish. So on her side, my grandfather was Irish and my grandmother was Polish.
Okay.
So coming from her, I guess I'm about a quarter Irish. So it's real. Although my name is German, and we think a lot of our family came from Austria. And I've got some Polish going on my dad's side as well. I'm legitimately got some Irish going on. And you?
My mother was 100% Irish, so I don't look Irish at all. So, my dad's Italian, so my mom wanted to make sure that I had an Irish first name. So that is why I have an Irish first name and an Italian last name, so that people would know that I was an Irish last name, Katie. So that's where, well, but I don't look it. I sound it. I talk like an Irishman, but I don't look it. So.
Well, I do want to bring in our special guest tonight.
Oh, yes.
So many of you know Michael Gallagher. As I mentioned in the announcements and everything, Michael has been part of the parish since 1970, believe it or not. He's on the pastoral council. He teaches confirmation. There was a note on Facebook today that from a mother whose daughter was very touched by Michael and his teaching and made a real difference in her life. He is involved in many ministries here in the parish, the Arise and Build campaign, all sorts of stuff. But like I say, more than anything, on this day, Michael Gallagher is Irish. So Michael, come on in. You're looking very Irish. There he is.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming, Michael. You can take him back out.
Oh, Father Marco Wiesner.
Hi. Hi, Michael Gallagher. Good to see you.
Oh, delightful. So wonderful. By the way, my name is Seamus O'Shenanigans. But
of course it is.
Michael's at the pub. You should be here shortly. But do you have your holy water, Father Mike? Holy water.
I have.
Katie, Katie, hold your water up, and I'll make a blessing, and we'll turn it into holy water. There.
All right, go
now
for it.
Holy water. So, Solante, all of you.
Salute.
A wonderful, joyous St. Patrick's Day to all of you.
And how have you been keeping your St. Patty's Day?
I've just been sipping on the Jameson. That's all. Very good. No, actually, my lovely wife made me some corned beef and cabbage. So very delicious. And in any case, yeah, having a wonderful day. So I get to, do anything. After that, they put me back in a hole. The person that gets to work year round is the tooth fairy.
I can't imagine why.
So anyway, I'm having a great day. But Michael will be here shortly. I told him he's supposed to be here at 7, but he's hanging out at the pub. So I'm going to go get him, and then I will be right back. But I just thought I'd wish you all a wonderful St. Patrick's Day.
So good to see you, Mr. O'Shenanigans. Thank you so much. I love it. Very good. All right.
I do have my second question for you before we get Michael away from the pub.
I have one for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to do mine first.
Okay.
So what is the policy about getting an opportunity on St. Patrick's Day, about giving up things for Lent, but it doesn't count on St. Patrick's Day?
Okay. So St. Patrick's Day is, while it's a day we mark in the church, it doesn't rank high enough in our hierarchy of days to really bump things. Although often bishops will give dispensations. Like if St. Patrick's Day was to fall on a Friday, a couple years ago it did, our bishop gave a dispensation so you could have meat and corned beef and all those things. So that's fine. Now, just to complete the picture, this coming Friday is the solemnity of St. Joseph. And he's the patron of the Universal Church. A solemnity is the highest kind of celebration we have in the church. Like Easter's a solemnity, Pentecost, Christmas are solemnities. Friday ranks up there with them. And so it trumps the Lenten Friday. So you can have meat and celebrate on this coming Friday, even though it's Lent.
Woo!
So it's very good. So my question for you is, what do you call a leprechaun who gets into trouble?
I'm terrified. I don't know.
A leprechaun. Like convict. Yeah, I got it. And it's as you mentioned, we're being watched on every continent. Our podcast on every continent except Antarctica, and we're not there. And COVID didn't get there either. Do you know why it was not there? Let me find the answer.
I'm terrified. Is this a joke again?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. No, never mind. Oh, look, it looks like Michael Gallagher is here now. So let's bring on Michael Gallagher.
Oh, good. You can save us
Oh,
from the
there
bad
you are.
jokes. Hey,
I've got my Guinness.
got your Guinness.
I got it in my Amador Valley pint, Katie.
Oh,
Just to get a little-
very nice. Go Falcons.
little-
Sorry.
Well,
Gotta do
cheers
it.
to Amador. Linty always teases me because she always, of course, she's a Falcon,
Yep.
but I'm a lifelong, and all my 4 kids are Dons. So, but got the Guinness going tonight.
Yes, Nathan hit his home run against your Don, so just letting you know.
Very good.
She doesn't travel well, Guinness. It tastes way better in Ireland, but it's
Way better. That is for
it's
sure.
It's really, really weird. How much does it cost in Ireland? Because I honestly don't know.
What's
Do you
that
remember
now?
what it costs in Ireland?
I have no idea. I just said put it on the tab. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I was blessed to go for the first time to Ireland with my dad.
Oh, wow.
And my dad had been there several times, and my brother actually lived there. John Patrick Gallagher, he lived there. And all my other family members went. But because Anne-Marie was pregnant, she was way out to here, I didn't want to leave the country. So 2 years ago, my dad and I had a wonderful 10 days in Ireland. And it was just a blessing to be there with my dad. And my dad's my dad's technically, I guess he's 100% Irish. He wanted to point that out to you, Father Mark. I'm not 100% Irish, but my dad is.
Okay.
And my mom was actually Portuguese and German. But I felt it was amazing. So it's a beautiful country. And it didn't rain. It never rains in Ireland. The whole week we were there. So when I went, it didn't rain.
When I was there, I realized that Ireland sort of exists for one reason: the music, the scenery, the people, the drink. It's all there to make you happy. That's what it does when you're there. Just makes you happy. I mean, and
well, they got to do something about the clouds.
When an Irishman's having a good time.
Yeah. Well, there was there was a
We'll get there.
Church on every corner. I'm sorry. It's sort of hard to screen. You guys are professionals. I'm looking at this, and there's all kinds of stuff looking at me. There's names, there's stuff coming up on the side.
Yeah,
people
your
asking
ADD is going to go on overdrive. Yes.
Guys,
just focus on your camera, Michael. Focus on your camera.
I'm trying.
We should have coached you before we started the thing.
I know. It's okay. It's all right.
What was your
question? Figured out fast enough.
What was your question, Father Mark? I'm sorry.
I said, how can you tell when an Irishman is having a good time? He's doubling over with laughter.
Exactly.
Doubling over.
Oh
my gosh. These are getting worse, Mark. These are getting worse. Your jokes are getting worse.
Yeah.
Well, stand-up comedian.
The Irish are joyful.
They are.
The Irish are joyful.
It's but it's also funny how culturally, at least I found, a lot of them are also, they're very much aware of their mortality. That just sort of like shades everything they're about, and they're just aware of that reality.
I remember my mom talking about her funeral when I was like in the 4th grade. Like, this is what I want at my funeral. And you know what? My kids know what I want, right? I mean, it's that talking about what you want at your funeral is sort of the reason you go to funerals now. Like, oh, that's a good one. I'm going to do that one. So
that's why you go to funerals?
Right, exactly. No, actually, I do. I go to a funeral once a year. So I make sure to go to at least one funeral a year, because I think, for one, it gives you perspective on your life. Right. If you're having an issue or a struggle with something, it's like, is this going to be something that's discussed at my funeral? Probably not. So it's, if I make a mistake or I choose the wrong path, it's okay. But I also, it's to say like, oh, that's a good idea. I was at a funeral once many years ago. The guy was a baseball fan. He's a big Giants fan. And about 3/4 of the way through the service, they stopped and everybody saying, "Take me out to the ball game." It was awesome. I'm like, I want that. It's like that must happen. So that was pretty cool. So
they had a 7th inning stretch during the funeral.
During the funeral, it was great. I loved it. It was freaking awesome. So
actually, the pandemic has done in a really big way is sort of put things into perspective if you've let it. If you haven't. I mean, there's a sense in which the whole world kind of ground to a halt to give you a chance to figure some stuff out. And, and I mean, fortunately, it's only a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it's also only a once in a lifetime opportunity. right? So, yeah, it's good. It'll be interesting to reflect upon and figure out when it's all over, what do we take from it? What do we take from it? So,
Katie, you know this though. The Irish, when they have a funeral, they celebrate. It's a wake. It's a
Oh,
celebration.
absolutely, absolutely.
I think my dad's been planning his for 50 years.
Right, right. You got to plan it like well in advance because it's going to be festive. It is a celebration. It is that, you know, what is it? You get to heaven an hour before the devil knows you're dead, right? So, you know, I mean, there's that philosophy. Well, I want to ask Michael that question because I think it'd be a good one because Mark, you and I have talked about this a little bit. But like over this year of the pandemic, Michael, like what are some of the lessons, the blessings that could come out of something like this that is very tragic on many levels? But what are the blessings for you?
Well, for me personally, I have to say, you know, being an introvert as I am,
well, all three of us are, you know.
Right, exactly.
It's been a challenge, but I have to say, having more quiet time has been actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And also, I believe my prayer life is grown dramatically over this time frame. I think actually, you know what else too? Sometimes I think we're now connecting with people more regularly because we realize we can't get up and see them, but we're making an effort to connect with people even when you know, they're not around, if that makes any sense. And so I've been calling people. Actually, I started had a thing during all this is every day or two, I would reach out and call somebody I haven't talked to for quite some time. And sometimes they pick up the phone. No, but yeah, but it's been great reconnecting in some ways. People I haven't talked to for several years. And I've sort of made that a thing that I've done. So that's been good. The one thing that I haven't been doing well at is, you know, I got the COVID-20 or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, I've been very overly sedentary, more than normal. I'm used to always going and doing something. So that was my exercise. So now I got to force myself to go actually physically exercise. So,
well, gyms are starting to open up a little bit. That's for sure. And I know, Michael, that if you called me, I'd want to make sure I have at least 45 minutes available to talk because I know it's not going to be short.
Oh, and you're not a talker either, right?
No, not me. I'm very, no, keep it short. I'm German. Keep it efficient. Get it done.
Right. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah, you know, that probably is a reason why people hit, you know, ignore on my phone calls too. I don't have the time. To, you know, have a 48-minute conversation. Oh, that is hilarious. Well, I think, you know, Michael, I think it's from your perspective. Am I allowed to ask just random questions to Michael and just to go for it? Because I do have a question.
As long as the caveat is there that I don't know what you're asking.
So
I'm not
Michael,
for this.
I've known you for many, many years.
Yes.
And a couple of years ago, you had said to me, I am discerning on whether or not the deaconship is something that is part of my plan. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And you said, it's not what I want, it's what God wants. And so I've again, you and I tend to talk as we walking in separate directions and have like a 2-minute conversation. And we get a lot done in that 2 minutes, but it's, you know, I always, that stuck in my head. And so I want to ask you about that discernment and what that looks like, particularly for somebody who is an extrovert, right? How does that discernment process work for somebody like you?
Yeah, because you've begun that. You're coming up with your second interview, right?
Yes. So the process is about 3 months to start. But to go back a little bit on what you said, Katie, about that it's not my plan, it's what's God's will. And I have to say, I'm very grateful and thankful for God's love in my life. I'm thankful for his blessings ever since I was young. I don't know why, but since I was young, I've felt Christ's presence in my life, mainly due to my amazing parents and then the greater community here. I've been in this parish since 1970, Father Mark said. So most ministries that I've engaged in, I've actually been called to. I didn't like go after, if that makes any sense. So in relation to the diaconate, I think this has sort of been a lifelong journey for me.
Yeah.
You know, way back when I thought maybe I was going to be called to the priesthood, but then I continued moving forward with my life. And then I was blessed to my wife, which we've been married 33 years and striving to live out our vocation in the sacrament of marriage and then raising our 4 kids. So I think at this point, I'm open to God's call and to God's will. And this discernment process we just started has been good. It's sort of a self-inventory. It's sort of like reflective of where I am and where does God want me to go? So the discernment process really doesn't end in these first 3 months. It's 4 years. So yeah. So anyway, I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, I guess my question is that, you said you know how you're called, and like, does discernment mean you go to a retreat and pray about it? Or is it something that is just more of your everydays and you sort of look for signs, or what is, I guess you have a process. Does God, is it the burning bush? I just, what is that discernment process is for you?
Well,
Can't speak.
I'll share with you something that was very helpful. A year ago, Father Mark had his mission on listening to God.
Yeah.
And there were 7 steps or 7 actions or whatever, 7 things to be aware of.
I'm impressed.
Okay. And as you were going through that, at that mission, I was there, I went every day. But that one day you went through that.
Yeah.
I went through and I'm like, check, 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 check. And so really since then, I've been sort of just praying and just trying to be open. But one of the things that really has, how should I put it, inspired me to move forward. And I share this, I hope I don't get emotional, but when a lot of people have come up to me and asked me over the years, have you ever thought about becoming a deacon? And, Father Dan, Father Paul, Deacon Dick Martin, Deacon Dick Wortham, Deacon Joe Gorley's always very supportive. But when your 4 kids ask you, Dad, when are you going to become a deacon? That sort of like puts the seal on the deal. And for me, I felt like if I do not at least go through this process, I would be turning my back on God. And so that's really why I'm going through this journey. I love how Father Mark said when he shared about going into seminary, that he took it 1 year at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it 1 step at a time. I got to get accepted. I got to apply and get accepted first.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, to put sort of what Michael's talking about into like maybe a context for people to understand, in the Catholic Church, we don't discern many things alone. We don't discern vocations alone. I mean, my 6 years in the seminary was not, if I'd walked in the seminary and said, hey, I'm going to get ordained on this day, please prepare me, they would have laughed me out the door. Because part of it is you don't discern alone. You discern in the community, in the context of the church. There are other people, even something like my coming here as pastor. It wasn't the bishop just saying, hey, I'm going to send Mark there. And it wasn't just me saying, yeah, I'm going to go. It was an entire personnel board in prayer with the bishop, asking me my prayer, seeking my spiritual director and all that sort of stuff. So there's a whole, you don't discern these things alone. You do them in community, in context. And part of it, at least part of my experience, has been exactly what Mike was doing. You say, even becoming the missionary of mercy, there were steps where I had to say, okay, I'm going to say yes to this step because I realized the church could say no. The bishop could say no. There are other parts, and then I'd have to go, okay, so, the discernment is varying, taking its time. But much like Michael, I look back on my life and I can think about when I was a kid and I was doing ministry at my home parish of St. Francis of Assisi in Concord. All these people, all the sort of blue gray hair old ladies would say, "Oh, you're going to make a marvelous priest," and I was like, "No, thank you, not for me." But I look back now, I go, "Okay, that was the beginning of discernment happening. That was God speaking through His people. That was something going on." So it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. So Michael's discerning now, but he'll be discerning up until the day he gets ordained. You know, is this the right thing for me? Is this the next thing I do? I mean, people ask me all the time, when did I know I wanted to become a priest? And I think I've shared with you, it's only half a joke that it was on the day of my ordination as a priest, when I was about halfway down the aisle to the bishop, that I finally said, I'm going for it. This is it. This is going to be it. And that was after years of doing missionary work, 6 years in the seminary, years of ministry in a parish, right, as a lector and singing in the choir and all this. It's not something you do right away. And so just to wrap this up maybe for a minute, I would just want to, I've had 2 wedding couples in all my years as a priest, almost 26 years now, come at marriage preparation this way, which I think is a healthy way to do it. Instead of showing up and saying, we're engaged, we're going to get married on June 10, get us ready, they come in and they say, we think we are to be married. We think that's our vocation. Help us discern this. And we go through the marriage process, the preparation. And then at the end of that, they go, yes, together with me, with others who've been on their retreats and things, we've discerned marriages for us. Let's set the date. You don't start by setting the date. The date comes after you have definitely discerned this is God's call for me. Not that I'm just in love with you, but this is God's call for us.
Right.
That's, I think, a very healthy way to approach marriage prep.
If I could add one thing, because it segues to that, and I didn't mention, I'm so grateful that I have an amazing wife who is always encouraging and supporting. I call her Sister Anne Marie of Pleasanton, but she is really, her and I together for the last 33 years have been engaged as a couple to serve in ministry. And I'm excited that she's excited about to be part of this journey with me. Because as you know, if you go through the diaconate process and you're married, your wife has to be totally on board. And so I'm just thankful that she's excited about it. And so we're going to do this together with God's guidance and through the power of the Holy Spirit. We'll see where it takes us. So
wives go to the classes, wives go to the retreats, wives participate in all that.
That's awesome. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for both of you.
Michael, you're pursuing it. And I think, if it is what God calls you to, you're going to be ever more a blessing to this community as an ordained minister. It'll be great. Shane says it's a team
Shane,
sport.
I love that. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Shane.
I think Lupe put something in there I thought was good. Thanks for sharing about this, struggling with God's will for my path. And that's actually a prayer I say every day, right? God, show me your plan. And I'm really slow, God, so make it really clear and obvious to me, because you got to make it like runway lights, like land the airplane here. And Michael, too, I think it's great that you get emotional. And frankly, as a leader in the parish, showing other men that getting emotional and vulnerable and accepting God's love is important. I mean, I think it's really important that you continue to be emotional and that it's not only accepted and acceptable, but encouraged. So keep crying, Michael. Keep crying. I want more crying.
I think it's because I'm Irish too, so that helps.
Oh, right. Well, you can't help it then, right? It's
Well, of the ministries you've been involved in, Mike, what have been your favorites so far?
Ministries?
Yeah,
I've been involved.
You've done a lot here at this parish.
Yeah, so I have a lot of favorites, but you know what? The one that gave me the most joy was when I was part of Vacation Bible School. That was an amazing ministry, and that's when I did what I wasn't called to. Well, I was called to, but that was not part of God's plan. I was invited by my lovely wife to show up, and then 13 years later, I was part of that wonderful ministry. And I love all the other ministries too. Confirmation, here's the thing. I love kids, I love young people, and I love the elderly. It's everybody in between that I have to pray a lot for.
So like Katie and I.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Right. He runs away from us like the plague.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do like being engaged with them, and those years with those kids, you can't help but see Jesus in those kids. When the whole hall is singing and praising God,
yeah,
we're celebrating his love for us. you just can't help. I mean, I would get emotional like daily at Vacation Bible School, because it's just the innocence and the willingness to just embrace the faith. It's just amazing. And it would take me like 2 or 3 weeks to settle down after VBS was over.
Yeah.
I was so much joy was filling my heart.
It's so energizing and so enjoyable. And like I say, it's very touching. Just to back up for a second, because I think the discernment thing has hit a nerve with some people. When people are saying, they appreciate the conversation. Karen says she tells God to put up huge neon signs that I can't possibly miss. And that's great. One thing I learned when I was like 24, 25, was on net was, if you're discerning something and you've done your prayer, you've talked to wise people knowledgeable in the field, you've taken your time, you've really sort of done a whole discernment process, and it's still not clear what to do, make a decision and go for it. And God will let you know fast enough if it's right or wrong, if it's yes or no. And if you've discerned wrong, there's really no harm in that. You actually learn and you grow through that, as long as you're willing to adjust the path when it becomes clearer. Oh, I shouldn't have gone this way. Maybe I need to do this. But
you turn.
Yeah.
You turn.
Yeah.
For me though, also, if it gives, I have to say that nothing gives me greater joy than to serve others.
Yeah.
And
that's an important indication.
So I figure, if God's overwhelming me with this amazing joy in trying to share the message and love of Christ with others, then he's probably telling me you should probably keep doing this. And so that, I think, is the greatest thing, and peace and joy in that. So that's sort of has helped me in my journey.
If you can find where your passion and a real need in the world come together, chances are that's where God needs you to be. Where your passion is, your gifts, your skills, where you find that joy innately, and where there's a real need in the world, when those collide, you have found something that God needs you to be doing. The question for you, Mike, is going to be this one, right? Okay, so just while we're doing discernment, the question will be this. So you have found all this joy and all this in doing ministry without being a deacon.
Right.
What about being a deacon attracts you? I don't expect you to have like an answer for that immediately, right? Because I've worked with people before who've realized the ministry they really want to do, they don't have to be ordained to do. And so maybe that's not for them. So what is it about ordained ministry, as opposed to what you've done for 40 years that has led you to this point? What is it about an ordained ministry that you're finding attractive?
Well, it's funny you should share that, because many years ago I had a wonderful conversation with Deacon Martin's wife, Helen Martin.
Yeah.
And she's an amazing, God rest her soul. She recently
she went to
be with our Lord.
Just a wonderful woman.
And she was always I just loved her. I love her. God rest her soul. But we had that exact conversation, because she said, Michael, you could just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And not be ordained. And I said, you're right. And I think at this point, and that's probably why, because of all the other things in my life that I didn't pursue the diaconate. I don't think I'm pursuing it because I'm looking for the title next to my name. I feel I'm looking towards it because I feel God's pulling me to the sacrament of holy orders.
Yeah.
And so and like I said, it's going to be a constant process, but I think, and to be honest, I don't want, what's the right term? I'm excited, but I'm a little, nervous, of course. So I'm just going to go through this process and put it in God's hands, like Katie said at the beginning. And if God brings me through, then I think it's his will, and I'll be happy. Yeah. So either way.
As I've told young men who've come to me talking about the priesthood, I always tell them, they're like, what if it doesn't work out? I'm like, if you go in the seminary and you decide you don't want to become a priest, because that's really the seminary's job, is to help you discern. They prepare you so that if you do get ordained, you've got some equipment there, some right to go. But the idea is discernment. And if you're in there and the discernment comes out to be no, the seminary has still been successful in what it does. It's helped you discern, and then you can go on with the rest of your life without ever saying, I wonder if I should have, what if I had, I don't know. You gave it a shot, and the answer was no. And that's fantastic, because then you know God's got something else in store for you. So, I mean, if the answer is yes or no, Michael, it's worth the time, it's worth the education, it's worth the whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, I have a question because this whole discernment conversation, Michael said, started with your 7, I forget exactly what you said, Michael, but it was like, hold on,
listening
your 7
to God.
steps.
Listening to God.
Do you have those 7? Do you happen to have those 7 memorized or on a PowerPoint slide you could pop up real quick, Mark?
I don't. It's
I have them.
It's in Father Mark's book of wonderful.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it today, and so I printed it. It's on the. By the way, it's on the website. You can download the PDF.
It is. You're right.
Because I took copious notes.
Just tell me. I'm not going to download anything.
I can make a podcast out of it.
Exactly. For a year, I was going through my notes, and then I found this on the website. So, but listen. So, silence and prayer was one.
Yeah, sure.
Intuition. Listen to your gut.
Wait, hold on. I got to write this down. Wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
And for those of you,
and I liked how Father Mark shared how Karen Miller said that about listen to your gut, right? And that was when and then scripture, God reveals the scripture.
So one is the silent prayer.
Yeah, you can
write these down. I'm not downloading it. All right, and then listen to your gut, which I think the gut is like the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, scripture. Exactly.
Yeah, that's
having that mind of Christ. Scripture, God reveals himself through scripture. And I've been reading actually since last Lent daily scripture. So that's for sure. And then people, God sends people, like you said, Father Mark, God sends people. And I shared even my own children, right? But people come to your life. Certain circumstances, like right now, I think I'm at that place where maybe things are in alignment for me to consider the diaconate after in this journey. I don't think personally, because of all the other things I was engaged in, not just in the church, but in my greater community. And I do have a job. I do work. Some people don't believe it. I do work. So, now I feel, then reflection, God leads us. And you talked about St. Ignatius' suggestion on when was I close to God today? Or when was I far from God today? Right. Or what is God saying to me? Then the next one, which I guess would be the 6th one or 5th one, desire. We've got to be open. That's the one thing I have to say that I've always strived to be, is open to listening and hearing God in my life. And then sometimes we've got to be quiet, right? Just listen. That's what this pandemic is.
Yeah, you can't.
Pandemic's done that.
Yeah. You need that still small voice speaks in the silence.
Yeah. So anyway, and I love how you put at the end, Father Mark, all will be well. Just do your best. God loves you.
So there's silent prayer, listening to your gut, scripture, people, reflection, and desire.
Yeah.
And circumstances are in there too.
All right. All right. Perfect.
I can give you the more detailed notes, but actually,
no, I didn't ask you. I asked Michael. I didn't ask you. Oh wait, I did.
Well, I took him from his notes. He's the one that did it. You can actually watch it
here. However, for those of you who are on Facebook, the link to that parish mission is there on in the feed, so you can go directly to that if you want to hear that.
Yeah.
Can we put it on the YouTube notes when it's posted up to YouTube? Can we
we can probably do that.
Can Michael do that?
We can do that. Right, our director of operations, our technical genius, is telling me that we can do that.
Yay, Michael.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anyway,
Michael's actually wearing a Kelly Green t-shirt today.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's in the he's in the mood. He's got his Irish on.
Today I was reflecting on St. Patrick, and I know we got the Feast of St. Joseph on Friday, but I read today 2/3, according to Ancestry.com, 2/3 of those that have had their DNA done through Ancestry.com have at least 5% Irish in them.
2/3.
2/3.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it shows you that little island has spread throughout the world.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, St. Patrick himself was not Irish. He was English.
He was English, and
English.
he was captured and went to Ireland
Right.
as a young man. Went back, and then he
Captured
came
by
back.
pirates.
Yeah.
St. Patrick was captured by pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do want to give credit because of my Irish heritage, and I know yours. But I am so grateful for my ancestors. My great-grandparents on both sides of my dad's family came from Ireland. They left during the potato famine via Australia. And one of my family members, my great-grandparents, Patrick and Elizabeth Gallagher, immigrated to Livermore, and they had a ranch there. And there they had 17 kids.
Oh.
And the 16th was my grandfather. So I'm glad we didn't stop at 15.
Amazing. That's amazing.
And if you go into St. Michael's Church, it was burnt down in the early 1900s, and they rebuilt that church. If you walk in the vestibule and turn to the left, there's a stained glass window there with my great-grandparents' names on it.
Really?
And
Aw.
Elizabeth Gallagher.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
And
Let's see
here's
your
the
kids'
interest-
names.
Well, here's the thing. I named two of our kids. That's right, Patrick and Elizabeth. But I did not know the names of my great-grandparents till after.
No way. That's cool.
There you go.
I mean, they're pretty good Irish names, right?
Oh, right.
Right. Yeah. So
But
that's
I
awesome.
had no idea until I went into St. Michael's Cemetery and found him one row in. My dad told me, and there's a huge headstone in granite, and it said Patrick and Elizabeth Gallagher. Did I know that was the name of my
Oh, that's
great-grandparents?
cool. That is so cool.
I love the Shane says discernment isn't guaranteeing acceptance, but it guarantees an answer.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh, what? Who? I'm sorry, Shane. Like, wow. Like,
Yeah. I don't know where the wisdom's coming from.
I know.
You know,
Look, I don't know. I mean, because you got Shane saying he's going to church.
we love
more
you,
ever
Shane.
in the
We know
last
we
year.
love you, Shane. Don't.
And he's got
If
me
you were
reading
on,
the
we give you a
Bible.
hard time too.
Shane, like I don't know what this pandemic. I'm reading the Bible. I'm on a talk show talking about my faith. Weird. So I mean, Shane is now having all this amazing wisdom. So something's happening. Something's happening. We'll just,
But he's
give it to
right.
God.
He's right. He's right.
He's right. Oh, it's brilliant,
That's
Shane.
part
Love
of God's
it.
wisdom. So that's
Took a
all part of it.
pandemic to get your attention, huh?
Apparently, right?
Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake
Yeah,
up. Shut the world down so Katie pays attention.
Right. It worked, I guess. Right.
So
So
good.
all right.
That's
So
awesome.
Katie,
argue with
what's your Irish name, last name?
Well, I have an Irish first name, so Katie, Catherine.
No, but your mother's maiden name.
Oh, my mother's maiden name is Carr, Carr. But my great grandmother was a Kennedy. So
Kennedy.
so it's Kennedy on my great grandmother's side, Carr from Killybegs. So I went to Ireland when I was in high school, but I haven't been back, and I'd like to do that. Though I don't fit in, nor do I look like any of my Irish cousins. And I was one of my cousins owns a winery up in Sonoma County, and we don't look anything alike, but we sound a lot of like. So people say he looks as Irish can get. And then be like, "That's your cousin?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he comes over and starts chatting, and they're like, "Oh, we hear the resemblance, right? It's the gift of gab." So that I've got from the Irish.
Well, we
Irish
really
side
need to
for
take
sure.
a trip back because there's nothing better than like sitting in an Irish pub in the evening, listening to the music and it's
Nice.
just, yeah.
We
kind of
have
different.
Mark. We
Even
have a list
traveling,
of
period.
places we have to go. Like we're like, oh yeah, we got to go to Ireland. We got to go to the Holy Land. We got to go back to Italy. We got our travel
New
itinerary.
Zealand. I want New Zealand on my. I want to take care of New Zealand.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
This was funny. Every pub we went, okay, what I love with travel with my dad, every night, of course, we went to a pub. And a lot of times they had music. And almost every time my dad goes, asks him to play Anthem Rye. That it's it's the anthem of Ireland. And you probably
Oh.
I had never even heard of it, but they can sing it. And my dad got so emotional every time they sang it.
Aw.
Yeah.
When
The
I
fields- the fields of
went
Anthem Rye.
when I went to Ireland, I went to visit a priest friend of mine who toured me around, visit his family. I actually went into Northern Ireland up to Belfast. I loved
Wow.
Belfast, loved the accent in Belfast. But same thing, almost every night we'd go to a pub, and he would always tell them that I could sing. And so every night in Ireland in a different pub, I would sing "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" and "On the Street Where You Live" from My Fair Lady, and then I drank free all night. So, which is why when I asked how much a pint costs, I have no idea. Even when the last call, I'd put my Irish pounds out to get collect. They would not take my money because I'd sung 2 songs for them, and I was from America, and they were just so happy. It was a riot. Like,
That's
so there
hilarious.
you go. I never volunteered, but the priest from it was like, "Oh, he's from America, he can sing." Oh dear, you know. So, yeah.
Wait, before I forget, both of you, I have to tell you how awesome you've been over the last year, and you guys are better than Ryan and Kelly live.
Way better. Come on.
Yeah.
Remind me how I met Ryan one year.
Did you?
Oh,
and you know what?
wow.
I had to say, Father Mark, you look a little like Ryan Seacrest, doesn't he?
I was Colin Firth, actually.
Yeah.
I'm totally like Colin Firth.
Colin Firth for sure. He's a
Okay.
doppelganger. Yeah. I get you though. It's the energy. It's the energy.
Instead of American
Colin
Idol,
Firth with Ryan Seacrest energy.
you could do Catholic Idol.
Oh, okay.
No, Catholics don't have idols. Catholics don't have idols.
I'm not joking.
Right.
Except American Idol.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well,
Anyway,
Michael, thank you for that compliment. But I'm curious, like my kids make fun of this show because they say it's just like going to dinner with Mark and me. Like, this is what it's like going to dinner with you two. Like, we just kind of talk and
yeah, they don't watch.
They don't watch. They're like, no, we've seen it. We're good. But what do you like about in Lieu of the Pew? I'm always curious to ask people, and they say, "Oh, we love it," and I'm like, "Okay, tell me what you like about it."
Well, first of all, I love your kids, Kelsey, Erica,
I know you love my kids. I know.
And Nathan. So I'm sort of in agreement with them, but also I just.
Well, it's 8 o'clock hour. Time to sign off.
Yeah. Well, hey, Michael's microphone just went down. What happened?
No, but also, you know what? In this whole thing, it's really helped. It's go to mass online, right? And that's one way to connect, right?
Yeah.
But this is way more. I mean, mass is awesome online, but here's an opportunity for people, and I feel for a lot of our parishioners who've been unfortunately and shut in for a while. And here's a chance to have a little fun, but also, maybe impacted spiritually, learn something new, be able to ask their pastor a question live. And Katie, I have to tell you, you're great at managing Father Mark. You do a wonderful. So I think that it's just been great. And like this last session you had, I know, it was a little heavy, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Father Gary, and that was pretty cool. And what's great, it's on YouTube, and if you want, you can go back and see it again.
Exactly.
So this one won't be on YouTube. We're not putting this.
No, this will be on YouTube. They're on YouTube.
Yes, it will. They're all on YouTube, Michael.
All right.
In perpetuity.
Anyway,
someone said to me the other day, you'd make a great bishop, and I said, if they ever decide they wanted to look at me as a bishop, all they have to do is look at In Lieu of the Pew, and they want to be a bishop. It's done.
And he's like, "Oh wait, never mind. We're good.
Never mind, not him. No, thank you."
What did I share with you at the parish council meeting, pastoral council meeting, Father Mark?
I don't recall. What's
you
that?
need to always be open to the call.
Always open to the call. Yes, absolutely.
Right. He's going to be like, sorry, line's busy. Line's busy.
In any case, thank you so much for being with us tonight, Michael. It's been delightful. I'm sure we'll have you back because we actually didn't even talk about the capital campaign or your work on that or parish council and what's that?
All that boring stuff.
We had fun. Which we need to have. It's St. Patrick's Day, right? Why did the chicken cross the road?
Oh no.
Because the chicken behind it didn't know how to social distance properly.
Oh, but these get worse. Like, they're worse than dad jokes. Don't you have friends that are dads that can give you like decent dad jokes? Where's Kevin?
Like
it's Kevin
McCray, Michael Arias.
Oh,
yes.
No. Kevin dad jokes. I'm specifically requesting Kevin dad jokes.
Kevin dad jokes. Oh, we'll have them for you next time. And actually 2 weeks, like I said, 2 weeks from now, we're going to try to get back on an every 2 week schedule because we just seems
we miss it.
Better. What's that?
We miss it. We're like,
exactly.
Every 2 or 3 weeks.
And so the next 2 weeks, it will be Wednesday of Uh-oh, Shane says he heard the
Oh
best.
no.
Okay, so Shane's another dad joke person, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But as Mike was talking about with his COVID, with his quarantine 19 or whatever, you keep eating like that, and your buttons are going to social distance from each other, right? It's just what happens. But
Oh.
okay, so Shane says, I bought a chicken and an egg on Amazon. I will let you know.
Oh, that's funny. I
Which
like
came
that.
first?
That's
You had to think. You had to think it through. Well
That's
done, Shane.
hilarious.
Thank you.
Nicely done,
point.
Shane. Thank you.
But 2 weeks from tonight, March 30, I guess, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. 31.
You can
Whatever.
do math.
The last day of
math.
March. The last day of March, which is the day before Holy Thursday and the day before baseball opening day. And we'll
Triple
be back
play.
to do this. What's that?
I like the triple play. We're taking it. Triple
I
play.
like baseball opening day.
Baseball and the Triduum and a green
There's
hat.
my Kelly
See,
Green.
I'm an A's fan, so.
Or A's people. Sorry. Or A's people.
Well, I didn't have a Kelly Green A's hat, unfortunately. So,
Don't tell Steven. That's going to
Bay
show
Area,
up for
Bay
you.
Area represent. Bay Area represent. That's all it is. But we're back then, so we will see you all then. Till
All
then,
right. Thank you.
happy St. Patrick's Day,
Cheers.
huh?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Could I close with the Irish blessing?
Yes, that would
Is
be
it
good.
the same
Close with Irish
blessing
blessing.
that O'Shanagan had earlier?
No. A
Okay, go ahead.
Irish blessing.
All right,
Do
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
All right. And yeah, it's just, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Amen.
Amen.
Happy St.
Amen.
Patrick's Day.
Good night, all. Thank you guys for
Good
being
night,
with
everybody.
us. Thank you for all your comments, for participating. We will see you in 2 weeks. Happy
Yay!
St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Aloha.
Good. Aloha. Good night. God bless.